Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for clicking on my video. Today I was playing with these two palettes from ColourPop to do a lilac and teal eyeshadow look. I love how these colors work together. It was so much fun to play with, just cool toned and kind of smoky. If you want to see what I did, stick around. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. Hello and welcome. I am a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I love to play with color. I love to do artistic things. Colorful eyeshadow is one of the ways I enjoy expressing my creativity. And if you like that sort of thing too, I upload a lot of videos. I used to say 3 videos a week, but lately it's been 4 or 5 videos a week. It's a lot. So if you like what you see and you want to see more, I hope you'll subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave so that you don't miss any new uploads. Now let's get going because I really want to play with eyeshadow. Okay guys, let's dive right in. I want to play with these two palettes today. They're both from ColourPop. This is the High Tide palette. It is their teal palette, and then Lilac You a Lot is their lilac light purple palette. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to do a teal outer corner crease sort of area with a lilac shimmer or a lilac outer corner crease area with a teal shimmer. And I think I'm opting for teal in the outer corner because I can go deeper with teal and get more contrast. Now the lilac palette does have 2 very dark shades, so if I wanted to get a lot of depth I could do that with this palette, but I think I want to use the lilac as an inner corner highlight. And so, I don't know, I just decided to go with teal in the outer corner. I have already primed my eyes. I used the Glam Light Icing Primer in the shade White Frosting, as I always do, and now I want to get going. Within the High Tide palette, I'm going into the shade Urchin with a large and dense blending brush. I'm going to start this in my outer corner. I'm going to probably lighten and deepen it from here. And I also wanted to update you guys on the pregnancy. I remember saying in a previous video, at this point I'm not sure where that has fallen in the schedule, but I do remember telling you that I wasn't sure of my due date because I was measuring bigger than we thought I was. For example, at my 20-week appointment, I was measuring at 26 weeks. And so we're like, all right, well, let's make sure that there aren't twins in there. And we'll wait for the official ultrasound, the one with the better technology where they can measure all the long bones and everything and figure out exactly how big the baby is, so we know how far along I actually was. So that ultrasound happened a couple of days after that video, and according to the baby's measurements, I am on track with what we thought I was. I am due at the end of February, and I asked my midwife, I was like, why would I have measured so much bigger? You know, several weeks bigger than I actually am. And I was looking into it a lot, and part of me was, my vanity was bruised that, oh, well, maybe I just, you know, just measuring bigger. I was talking to other women and they're like, oh man, there are so many variables. And yeah, I measured big with all my kids, or I showed immediately, or whatever. You know, the human body is incredible. And it's versatile and it does these amazing things. And sometimes we get these weird ideas that a process should go a specific way, or your body should react to something the same way that someone else's body did. And that may not be realistic because everyone's different and every body has gone through its own experiences. Now I'm going to take a smaller blending brush, a little bit fluffier, and I'm going to grab the shade Currants. Oh, little one. Oh no, go back to sleep, go back to sleep. It's too early for her to be up. We'll see. I've got the shade Currants, and I'm going to use this to buff out the edges of Urchin a little bit. So anyway, I was looking into it a bit, like why my fundal height measurement may have been larger. And there are, as people were saying, a lot of variables. You know, could have been weight gain. Maybe there was just more fatty tissue in that abdominal area. Could have been, what else? Could have been that the baby was bigger, or that you were actually farther along than you thought, or possibly the one that made the most sense to me, based on my own experience, was either weight gain or having looser abdominal muscles, because I had a baby less than 2 years ago. And honestly, I did not do the work to really re-tighten and strengthen my abdominal muscles. The gap between my first 2 children, the ones that are here on Earth anyway, is 9 years. And even if I didn't do any workouts in 9 years, there was still plenty of time for the abdominal muscles to rejoin and strengthen, just, you know, tighten up a lot. So I think that one makes the most sense, that my abdominal muscles were just not really back to themselves. You know, they didn't have a lot of time, and I didn't put the work in to tighten and strengthen them again after having a baby. And so when my body became pregnant again, it was like, all right, here we go. We're pre-loosened. We know what to do. So I think that makes the most sense. If you have any experience in this, you have to let me know. Like, maybe you're an obstetrician and you're like, actually, But my midwife was like, oh, there are tons of variables, and she's not concerned because, again, it's not like I'm overly heavy or unhealthy. I don't have gestational diabetes. There's nothing concerning. It was just the fundal height measurement kind of helps. It's just a guide, to see where you are, where the baby is, make sure baby's growing at all, which is something that I'm very happy to see. And so that makes sense to me. Probably just that I don't have the tightness in my abdominal cavity that I did the last time I got pregnant, or that I had when I was 23 and got pregnant for the first time. I have been going back and forth about whether I should declutter this High Tide palette because it doesn't really get a lot of use. But when I do use it, it is so good. Like, look at these colors. They're beautiful. They're so pretty. And I think that teal is a color that works on lots of different skin tones. Here on a smaller blending brush, I have the shade Lunar. This is the darkest matte in the palette. And I'm dipping into the pan and just touching up this outer corner to bring in a little bit more depth. Anyway, I was saying, I think teal is one of those colors that looks good on most people because whatever your undertones are, most people look good in either green or blue. Not often both, or not always both, but usually one of them, right? And of course it's based on tones and shades and depths and all that stuff, but generally a person will look pretty good in either green or blue. So teal is a little bit of green and a little bit of blue. And for example, like, you can obviously do teal in lots of different tones and shades and depths. Now, a couple of these are certainly more minty. Those would be more green leaning, but then some of them are more peacocky and more blue leaning. I think that teal is kind of a universally flattering color because it hits the blue for people who look good in blue, and it hits the green for people who look good in green. It's just a lovely color. I'm gonna dip into Lunar as well with a smudger brush and do my outer lower lash line. Now it's time to play with some lavender colors. Lilac-y, lavender, purple colors, doesn't matter. I like to apply ColourPop shimmers with my finger. I think that they apply very nicely like that. And I want to start in the shade Trainwreck. So dipping of my finger, and I'm going to start this in the inner corner. So I'm going to put it right here. I think I want to use a couple of the shimmers in this palette just for fun. So here's the shade Trainwreck. It's sort of almost a cotton candy kind of lilac-y color with some purple in it. With more purple than cotton candy, Then I'm going to wipe my finger off on this napkin that I have, and I'm going to grab the shade Wake Me, which is more cotton candy, a lot pinker than Trainwreck, and I'm going to put that right here where Trainwreck meets the teal colors. And see how that looks. Now that is pulling more blue because I'm putting it over the teal colored base. With the blending brush that I used before, I'm just gonna tap those mattes into the shimmers a bit. I think I want to grab a flat brush and actually apply these shimmers sprayed because I'm just curious to see if I can get a little bit more of a metallic shine. So I'm gonna start that with the Trainwreck shade. I'm gonna go in with a flat brush and spray it with my setting spray. You can use any setting spray for this. If you don't have setting spray, you could even use water, which is what I used to use. I have heard that a setting spray with glycerin is best because of how it binds to the shadows. I'm not sure. This is the shade Trainwreck again with a brush and sprayed. I just want to see if I can get a little bit more of a shine on it. And now I'll flip the brush and grab Wake Up as well. I'm not going to spray that, I'm going to place it down with whatever's on the brush already as far as spray. Okay, it's looking pretty. It's not giving me the higher metallic shine that I want, so I might dip into something else. I'm not sure. I'm thinking Glamlight has a good formula that's got some shine to it, or if I want to go really sparkly, I could grab Uden's Eye, but I'm going to think about that and get back to you. With a new brush, a smaller pencil brush, I'm going to take the shade Zoned Out, and I'm going to run this on my lower lash line all the way to meet those teal mattes. And then I'm going to highlight with a third shimmer from this Lilac palette. Oh, I love these two together. Do you see that? This Zoned Out shade with the teal mattes. Oh, that's pretty. With that same pencil brush, I grabbed the shade Cloud from the Lilac palette and I sprayed it, and I want to use it as an inner corner highlight. All right, that's giving me a little bit of shine Honestly, not as much as I want though. I'm gonna go root through my collection and see what else I can find that will bring me the level of metallic or sparkle that I want. And then I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Within the Udenzai Salmone 2 palette, I was raving about Udenzai Christmas launch yesterday. I don't know if that's the video that's going to go up yesterday, but anyway, I was raving about it yesterday, and I've got Udenzai on my mind. So, in the Udenzai palette, we've got 2 purple shimmers, and also a peachy pink shimmer. So I think I'm going to use my flat shader brush. I'm going to first grab the shade Meteor, which is the lighter of the 2 purple shimmers, and I'm going to spray it. And I'm going to lay this down on my, well, pretty much the whole lid space. I'm covering whatever I just laid down with lilac because it's giving me a little bit more of a sparkle, shiny look than I had before. Now I've got the shade Starry Sky from the Salmone palette. This is a smaller pencil brush, the one that I just used before. And I'm putting that right here in my inner corner. I did spray it. There we go. That brightens it up the way that I wanted it to be. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but adding in these Udenzai shimmers brought in some more sparkle, not necessarily high shine. If I had grabbed Glam Light or maybe Beauty Bay, I would have gotten more of a metallic because those shimmers are a little bit more emollient and a little bit richer in their payoff as far as, I don't know, the saturation of the colors maybe. Whereas Udenzai shimmers, I love them. They're more like this crazy high sparkly look. Some of them, the darker ones, are definitely higher pigment. The lighter ones are a little bit more like topper kinds of shades, but they just transform a look. I don't know if you can see it because I put them on top of another shimmer, so it might not be as impactful as if I had put them on top of a matte, but anyway, I like this a little bit better. It's a little bit more oomph. I am going to choose something for the waterline. I'll go off camera, finish everything up, and I'll be right back to show you how it looks in the end. So this is how it turned out, guys. On my waterline, I used this shade from ColourPop. It's called Fluffy. It's just a light pink kind of color. Then on my lips, I'm wearing the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Eclair. I like this lilac-y color, but I don't love that it seems to have a white base. And I think I mentioned in a different video that my least favorite shade out of these that I've tried is this one right here, which I think also has a white base. So when I put them on my skin, they look a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little disjointed. I don't dislike them per se, but I prefer the ones that have more of a berry sort of or purpley kind of base. Anyway, I do like the color itself. As a highlighter right here, I have this shade from Nomad and their Around the World series. That is what it's called. How do you say this? Kofa Nan? Yeah. It's the NG that I'm not sure about, the NGAN. I think it's Kofa and then whatever that would be, Nan. I'm not sure. I don't want to mispronounce, butcher someone's language, but that's the highlighter that I'm using. I know I've showed it to you before. It's beautiful. It was a gift from a subscriber, and it's just a lovely purple blue iridescent thing. I am wearing a little bit of blush. It is the Ready to Bounce Cream Blush from Treluche. I think I say that right. And I am wearing a little bit of the Tulum palette as a bronzer contour sort of thing. I did not do a winged eyeliner because I didn't want to, but I did line my upper lashes with black, and that is everything. So I hope you like the look. I think it's really pretty. I love the lilac and teal together. It's a combination that I've wanted to play with for a while, and I'm actually glad that I used the High Tide palette because it's been a while for that one too. I'm glad I threw on the Udenzai shimmer to bring in a bit more sparkle, but I like the colors together. I think they're really pretty. Let me know in the comments what you think. Again, let me know if you have any suggestions as far as color combinations, palettes that you'd like to see, or when I do my week of series, if you can think of a slightly larger palette, I'd say at least 12 pans that you would like me to use for my week of series. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I appreciate you hanging out with me and being here. Remember to like and subscribe before you leave if you want to see more, and until I see you guys in my next video, I hope you have a great day. Bye!